Randy Arozarena heads up there to lead things off for the Seattle Mariners, coming off the 3-1 win in Game 1. And Trey Savage gets ready to face him, the 22-year-old who struck out 11 Yankees in his postseason debut.
Yeah, very dynamic throughout the first couple innings. We'll try to explain to you why he's so tough to hit and why it's so difficult for hitters to see this release point. But he's got basically 3 pitches that he rely on, and that split finger was really what everybody was talking about. Unhittable against the Yankees.
Savage has been in the big leagues for less than a month, and the pressure on him to get this series tied up as it heads to Seattle. Arozarena stands in, and off we go with a fastball strike to the inside corner.
Fastball's firm, and his fastball has command. If there's any issue, it's when he loses command of that fastball, and it won't make his split quite as good.
One of each. Well, a slider right there, and it's 0-2. Arozarena without a home run his last 100 at bats. You got to go back a month. Their struggling leadoff hitter who was 0 for 4 in the first game yesterday.
What you're going to see is top to bottom. You won't see east to west very much. Top to bottom, fastball height, and then the bottom drops out on those 2 off speeds. There's the splitter that he spikes, but for Arozarena, he has really come off the fastball, meaning he is not hitting the fastball, which is alarming because that's what he was so good at for so long.
It's just outside. The Savage with a couple sliders in this first at bat. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Arozarena with a couple steps to the dugout. If they both told you they thought it was a strike, and only one person thought it was.
Doug Eddings, only guy that matters. 2-2. Yeah, and he's worked it full. Arozarena has not been getting the hits, but he did walk yesterday. Steal 2 bases after the walk and coming to score the insurance run in the 8th inning. Carolli's the only guy that has done much of anything in this postseason for Seattle. He gets hit by this 3-2, and the leadoff man reaches. But I've heard you talk about it so many times. Regular season, a guy gets on, no big deal. But in the postseason, immediate big-time stress as this Mariners lineup comes to bat with Raleigh headed to the plate. And then Julio Rodriguez, who reached 3 times in the first game. Polanco's been the hero, it seems like, every night. Naylor and Suarez, and then Canzone, Robles, and Crawford to the same 9 as Game 1. So here is Raleigh. Kevin Gausman went into that at bat against Cal Raleigh last night, having retired 16 in a row. He had gotten 2 strikes on Raleigh, but then Cal hit his 62nd home run to tie the game, and he fouls off the first pitch here.
Well, as amazing of a year as he's had, and I think it's MVP amazing, he actually has, when you dive into the numbers, more swings and misses than you would think. Doesn't put the ball in play, but when he does, the damage is off the charts.
60 during the regular season, 2 shy of the American League record, and 2 in the postseason so far. Raleigh's hit 400 in the playoffs. The rest of the Mariners have hit 180. And only 1 time have they scored more than 3 runs, relying on that pitching. The Savage's 0-1 is high for ball 1.
So here's the interesting, when you dive into the numbers, you see only 18% of the time they throw an inside pitch, he's able to put it in play. But his slugging on the inside pitch is off the charts, so it means you have very little room for error in that place where you're trying to get him out.
Ball, that's down.
Good take. Now, Trey Savage in the strike zone very rarely. The zone percentage in his first start of the postseason, that was as low as any zone percentage for any pitcher in baseball all year, but guys just can't lay off. He gets more chase than any pitcher in baseball. So if I'm the Mariners, why don't I just go up there and wait him out?
And that's the tough part. Right now it's not so tough because he's not commanding the fastball for strikes. When he gets the fastball for strikes early in the count, as a hitter, you do not want to get beat on the fastball, and that's what brings in the split finger.
3-1 to Raleigh is fouled back.
See that pitch right there. Okay, if that was a 1-2 pitch, then he probably follows that off with a split finger off that height. That's a top of the zone, hard pitch to hit for a hitter, especially with 7.1 foot of release, the highest release point in baseball. And the hitters just don't see that, and so that illusion and that fastball plays faster up there than what the miles per hour say.
Rosarena dancing around over at first after his hit by a pitch to start the game. Here's a payoff pitch. Raleigh takes ball 4, and the first 2 have reached for Seattle.
This is the unknown factor for an inexperienced but dynamic pitcher. How is he going to handle the environment the second time through? Down 1 game versus the cushion of being up 1 game against the New York Yankees. He was riding an incredible wave, and his composure, everyone talks about how great it is. This is where it'll be tested right now.
He was riding the wave, and he was playing with house money after Gausman had gotten him off to the 1-0 series advantage. The pressure on here, though. And immediately in this first inning, Julio Rodriguez takes a strike. Rodriguez came into the series 0 for his last 14, but he singled and walked twice yesterday. Scored the game-winning run on the base hit from Polanco. 2 on, nobody out. Rodriguez takes strike 2. Rare to see him take back-to-back pitches.
Well, he's been smoking the fastball and getting the fastball up in the zone. Those 2 off-speed pitches hit in the strike zone. Release point is so huge, and you see how in the first game he didn't give up a hit and only 2 base runners. Already 2 base runners and not an out recorded in the second start.
Here's his 1-2. Rodriguez hooks one in the air down the line. If it's fair, it's got a chance, and it's gone. Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run shot in the first inning. Totally different story for Trey Savage. In his second postseason start, he gets punched right away. One of the top home run hitting clubs in baseball this year. They've not had the same kind of power in the postseason. They've been able to survive it because the pitching has been so good. Rodriguez hits it out, and if you start getting that power like they did for a lot of the regular season, look out.
Well, you never know in a postseason game. We've talked about it. 0-2, innocent first at bat. He gets maybe a call that goes against him and then hits the batsman. And then the next thing you know is 3 runs. Those little things are the things that drive you crazy in a postseason game and get magnified and put pressure on a young pitcher. And that split finger was probably the only bad split finger we've seen him throw so far, and it ended up in being 3 runs.
Yeah, just like Raleigh's home run yesterday, it comes on a 2-strike pitch. Polanco on 0-2, swings and misses, and there's the first strikeout, the first out, after 3 runs have already crossed.
Well, this is the one that was going to be strike 3. Everybody knew it except for home plate umpire, and still you've got to be able to get out of that at bat. And then that split finger that just fluttered right over the middle, and the timing of seeing 3 in a row allowed Rodriguez to stay back, keep his hands back, and keep it fair.
Second of the postseason for Rodriguez after 30 during the regular year. That's a strike on Josh Naylor.
So this is how cruel baseball is. That's his first hit he's given up, and it resulted in 3 runs. He hadn't given up a hit in the first game. Probably would have gone a lot longer had the score been different. And now he's faced with his first adversity where he's going to have to pound the strike zone and get back to where he's comfortable and keep them, because 3 runs typically against the Blue Jays is not going to be enough.
Well, if you get the Blue Jays offense you saw for a lot of the regular season, saw in the division series against the Yankees when they averaged 9 runs per game. This is nothing. But against this Mariners pitching, 3 runs feels hefty. 0-2. Naylor had 6 hits the last 2 games of the division series, but he was 0 for 4 yesterday. Struck out twice. On this 1-2, he fouls it off and stays alive, although feeling it.
See, again, now the hitters are going to get used to north and south. All right. And if that's the only area they have to worry about, then it gets easier for them to hit. But having said that, if the fastball gets pounded constantly for strikes, then the north and south is not going to be easy for them. they can recognize pitches right east and west outside the strike zone because his fastball is pretty straight. It's over the middle of the plate that they have to make that quick decision. And we'll show you some graphics of how that timing changes when you see a fastball versus a split following. The person at home has no idea how impossible it is to pick up that pitch in a split second.
The Yankees had no chance. The Yankees went 0 for 11 against his splitter. And here's what you're talking about, shedding some more detail on what this is like.
So there comes the fastball. There's the timing you have on the fastball. And by the time you got to make a decision on that fastball, guess what? There's the variance and velocity and movement, and you have virtually no chance to recognize the two.
StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud. Naylor on 1-2, fouls it off.
And so people might ask, well, why don't more people do that? Well, it's almost impossible to do what he's doing from that height. And pitching is not perfection where you every day feel like you have your best stuff and you're mechanically connected. Release point, key.
Naylor goes up to get it, grounds it through the middle, base hit center field. Another 2-strike hit for Seattle as Naylor went up there above the letters to get to it.
He's one of the few guys in this lineup that can get the ball 95+ miles an hour and loves it. His bat path and the way that he sees the baseball. Do you see how flat that swing was? If you're underneath that at all, forget it. So you can see how flat. That's the attack angle you got to have when you're facing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball top of the zone.
The Mariners, against this unique look, have put 4 the first 5 on. And now Eugenio Suarez comes to the plate.
Now this guy's the opposite. He wants the ball down. He's going to extend to both parts of the field, put the ball down. Fastball down is where his power is.
Wants it down so he can hit it up. 49 home runs in the regular season for Eugenio Suarez. He almost had one last night. Just got it off the top of the wall and turned it into a double. Back with the Mariners after going to the Diamondbacks for a couple years.
Oh, no.
Got him at the deadline. Along with the guy that just got the base hit in Josh Naylor. Took a Mariners offense that was much improved from previous seasons and made it down the stretch the best offense in baseball. On a 1-1, Suarez swings and misses over a slider. The Savages 1-2, struck him out with a high fastball. There you go. He stays away from the sweet spot. Strikes him out with a high heat. 2 gone in this first inning.
The one thing he's got to do as we watch this pitch, get that second strikeout, he's got to hold the ball in his hand for the split finger grip. And the reason he's got to do that is when he goes to the glove, that's when he'll change it. If he doesn't, he goes back to giving that pitch away with your grip and glove.
Well, that's all.
Misses with his first one to Canzone.
So you'll see here he goes to the split finger grip. He's got it in his hand. Right there, and then he'll move it around to the pitch he wants once he gets it in the glove.
There goes Naylor from first. Throw from Kirk. Not close to in time. Josh Naylor, incredible. He's now 21 for 21, John, in stolen bases since going to Seattle.
He didn't know what to do right there. He didn't know if I should slide.
30 out of 32 on the season, even though he's one of the slowest guys in baseball. In fact, the only guy slower is the catcher that was trying to throw him out right there in Alejandro Kirk. The power of game planning and the mental side. And already the bullpen for the Blue Jays getting going. Fisher. 1-2 coming to Canzone. Got him with a fastball and gets 3 Ks in the inning, but Seattle gets 3 runs. Julio Rodriguez inside the foul pole as the Mariners try to take a 2-0 series lead back home to Seattle. 3-0 Seattle on Rodriguez's first inning home run. And the Blue Jays coming to bat here, playing from behind today with George Springer to lead things off for Toronto. He led off yesterday's game with a home run. That would be it. Nathan Lucas is in there after fouling that ball off his knee. Same look through the heart of the lineup. A little bit different down at the bottom. As Santander was scratched with lower back tightness, Davis Schneider gets plugged into the lineup at the last minute. And they face off with Logan Gilbert, who dominated in Game 3 in Detroit and then came back and pitched 2 innings out of the bullpen, doing his best Randy Johnson impression in Game 5. And so, like Bryce Miller last night, he's going on short rest today. His first pitch of the day is a strike on Springer.
Well, he'll throw that pitch a lot. Sliders he's not afraid to throw, and he'll throw off speed more than he'll throw fastballs. And there's the breakdown in the usage through Springer. A ton of sliders in their matchups previous.
Ball.
One thing he's done really well in the year is taking care of the top of the order and the leadoff batter. And we talk about it over and over again. The leadoff batter in an inning is so crucial in the postseason.
Here's the 1-1 to Springer, and it's chopped foul. This is more the same from yesterday. Mariners pitchers getting ahead. That's the whole idea. Of course, you always want strike one, but the Mariners really emphasize it. And in Game 1, 80% first pitch strike rate. Logan Gilbert has been one of the best in baseball in that category all year. His 1-2 to Springer is rocketed down the line foul.
Now there's that split finger that he throws, and it has a little bit different action, a different release point. At 6'6", you would think he has a high release point, but he actually has a long stride. So what that means is a lower arm angle, and it's a lower delivery than what his counterpart on the mound, who Savage, is currently at.
He's home with another 1-2. Springer takes ball 2. So you've got your Savage, who releases the ball higher than anybody in baseball. Very unique. You've got Gilbert, who releases the ball closer to home plate than anybody in baseball.
And that's what makes him uniquely different and hard to hit at the same time. Short stride from your Savage, long stride.
Down the line towards the pole and just foul. Springer that close to doing it again.
Another slider, and he's seen a bunch of them. It's a little bit of a flatter slider so far out of the gate. You expect a little bit of that. See how that spin is staying right there? When the hitter sees that big dot of the seams coming together, their eyes light up, and the ball usually does that and goes a long way.
With the first leadoff home run in Blue Jays postseason history yesterday. Leading this one off against Gilbert. Sending a drive to left center field. Arozarena's back. It is off of the warning track, and it's extra bases for Springer. Again, sparking this Toronto offense and bringing this crowd right back into the equation.
Well, some pitchers want to prove to themselves they can make the adjustment from pitch to pitch. This was the knuckle curveball, or at least that breaking ball that he has not been able to get to turn the corner on, and that's flat in the zone again.
Leadoff double. Up comes Nathan Lucas, who shoots the first pitch foul. Lucas in the lineup after he fouls a ball off his knee yesterday. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, I don't know if this guy's going to be in there. I don't know if I'd even walk if I'd done what he did. And Nathan Lucas has given him some big swings this postseason. Hit second. A pad on his knee. He's going to move the runner up here at least. Close play at first, and it's thrown behind him. Blue Jays on the board. Lucas puts it in play. Naylor's feed was behind Gilbert, and it's 3-1. The best bat-to-ball team in the sport against a not very good defense. Put it in play and reap the benefits.
Yeah, tough play when you have this conversion, and really might have been easier for the second baseman, but Naylor got there and was trying to guide the ball. I don't know if he would have got him anyways.
Vlad Jr. Strike one, lost the bat. This place is going crazy. And the Mariners completely took the air out of the building with that home run from Julio Rodriguez. So important that the Jays get right back up. They did with a double from Springer. And now we've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as the tying run already.
Vladdy loves power in the breaking ball department. 21 home runs since last year on breaking pitches.
2 of them against Gilbert. On an 0-1. He jumps out of the way.
What happens when you pitch on short days rest, and it's not as easy as just saying, well, it was a bullpen type session, 34 pitches. You get a little fatigued, and the consistency of your arm speed gets a little bit lagged at times. And I could see that a little bit right now with his release point not being consistent. Not the sharp breaking ball that we're used to seeing, and that splitter that has this gentle tumble. So he'll have to find it soon.
Blue Jays offense looking to come right back to life. 9 runs a game against the Yankees. On this 1-1, Vlad Jr. chops it to short for J.P. Crawford with a heck of a pick for the first out. Wow, what a nifty play by Crawford.
Good base running. As soon as the ball was high chopped, he got to third base. Very productive out. And a very productive play by Crawford. This place, well, the roof's already open, but they would have blown the roof off if that didn't play to get made.
Blue Jays unbeaten in this postseason with the roof open. Major League Baseball makes the decision whether or not to have it open or close, although it was funny that they looked like a totally different team yesterday with the roof closed. And the next day, just about the same temperature, and it's open. Fox Foresight is powered by Google Cloud. This offense leads the majors in runs scored this postseason. When they get 5 on the year, they're 74-5. Google Cloud powers these real-time insights. Edison Barger comes up. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Joe, Nathan Lucas left last night's game when his knee simply did not feel stable enough to sustain him. He tried every time that he stopped. He completely gave out. So today, after his x-rays came back negative, took some pain medication, a lot of caffeine, and a sleeve on that knee.
John Schneider said, I had a feeling that he wasn't going to let me not play him. He's at third for Barger, who fouls off the first pitch. Sean said that these guys are just having so much fun playing in these games. And Lucas, they're going to take a lot more than a ball off his knee to get him out of there. Guy that started the season as the 4th outfielder, now hitting second. Barger fouls it into the dugout. Started the season in AAA, did Addison Barger, after he hit 197 going back and forth as a rookie last year. Look out over there. Woo. Think fast. Infield in for Seattle as the 0-2 comes home. Barger takes outside. Kind of situation the Blue Jays have thrived in this year, getting guys in from third with less than 2 outs.
Got to get him thinking inside at some point in this game. Trying to throw that split away and trying to get the chase. Every hitter has a little bit of a hole on one side of the plate. Inside tight to him is going to be that hole.
On a 2-2, Barger swings and misses at a good splitter from Gilbert for out number 2. Big strikeout there for Logan Gilbert. We talk all about Trey Savage's splitter, but this splitter right here was the best swing and miss pitch of any starter in baseball this year. He pulls it at a good time. Up comes Kirk with a man at third and 2 away. Line drive right center, 3-2 as the Blue Jays have bounced right back. Kirk drives in Lucas. Toronto's already got more runs in game 2 than they had in 9 innings in game 1.
Another mediocre pitch over the plate. You can't do that to this Toronto team. You can only get away with it for so long, and they're going to just own the strike zone. As much as the Seattle Mariners pitching staff owns the strike zone, you cannot be in the middle with your secondary.
Varsho cranks a line drive to right field, but it is right at Victor Robles. Wow, this game explodes out of the gates. 5 runs in the first inning.